Hi guys, my name is Tony. Welcome to my shop. Today we're going to be reviewing some tools from FindBuyTools.com. I know a lot of my internet friends, my YouTube friends, have already been reviewing some of their tools, so when they gave me an opportunity, I picked some tools that haven't been reviewed yet. I'm going to be going with the 1 1/8" spindle roughing gouge, and also we're going to be checking out the 12mm by 5mm parting tool. Now, I did speak to the factory after my unboxing video just to clarify a few things. And what I found out is they do ship them sharp. They don't ship them with like a ready to go to the lathe. They don't even advertise that their tools are ready to go to the lathe out of the box. So they do profile them quite nicely, but then they kind of expect you to do your final sharpening. Now this does have an edge, so just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and start a turn with their factory edge. Then we'll go over to the grinding station, go ahead and put the edge that I would normally turn with it on it and kind of compare the two and just see how they do. It's a shorter tool. It's only about a 5 1/8 tool steel up here coming out of the shank, but it does have a nice shank, comfortable handle, but it is a smaller handle tool for the size, I think, for roughing. I'd normally want probably like 4 times the length up here, maybe a 24-inch handle and a little bit more steel maybe. But let's see how they perform. At the price, that's really what we're looking for. Is this a value for the money, and will it do the job when properly sharpened and taken to your lathe? So let's get over there and take a look. Okay, over here I have a little 4x4 piece of cherry, maybe 3.5 by 3.5, and it is mostly dry. It's about 12–13%. It was milled and glued up at the ends last year. So I've got the lathe set up right now to spin it about, what do we got? 1300 RPM. I'm going to put my face shield on here. And I know I'm wearing flip-flops. Don't worry about it. I'm safe. You do you. So first thing with any of these tools, we're going to want to come up and find. I'm going to move my tool rest to the other side since the handle's short. I got to keep that out of the way. So first thing with any roughing gouge, we're going to come in, find where our bevel is, and then just slowly lift the handle. Now this is the factory. Whoa, got caught there with that factory edge a little bit. We'll tighten that up. We are getting cuts. I'm going to go ahead and go 2 or 3 more cuts with it. Make sure we're nice and tight here before I take it over and put my own edge on it. But this is the factory edge. So 2 passes, both directions. We're getting nice cuts. You can feel them. They look good. Tool, like I said, for me personally, I'd like a little bit longer handle, and maybe I'm being a little aggressive with such a large piece of wood with such a short-handled tool. But it is taking a nice cut, and it's making full contact all the way across. Now I'm going to take it over to the grinding station, and we're going to put another edge on this. Now the way I do my edges is I put it directly in the V block and set my angle on that, and I'm just going to roll it side to side around that top. That's how I do my roughing gouges. I'll set a camera up over there and show you what I'm doing, and we'll be right back. To be honest, that's not the prettiest picture in the world. I don't usually film over here, so I don't have it really all that as tidy as I'd like. But what we need to do is we loosen our V-arm, and this is on a standard Raptor one-way turning setup, but not Wolverine. Sorry, Raptor is the gauges I normally use from craft supplies. And I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to adjust it out all the way until I see the bevel fully resting on this teal, and then I'm going to lock it in place. Now that's normally how I would set it up to go. Now for me, this is how I do it. You guys have to do you, and you have to be a little careful. So I keep one hand way away from it, and I'm going to lay it slowly down after the grinder speeds up. And I'll go one edge, and I'll wrap it around to the other edge. And you can see we're only touching the bottom of that bevel right now. So I'm going to have to do quite a bit of grinding at how I set it up to get my full edge on that at this angle. So here we go. Okay, that's the finished grind on that, and I think that is where we're going to get our best results. Let's see if that does a little better grind. A little better cut with the new grind. So you see the nice, fresh, really good, sharp tip now. So again, up, find our bevel, lift the handle. Thank you. So I had that anchored to my body. I'm shifting my body weight across, and you can see just from the top, we're getting significantly better cuts. They're not skew cuts, but they're significantly better. And that's a very out of round piece, so giving it, really an opportunity to show it what it's got. I'm gonna raise the tool rest up just a teeny bit, just to see, make sure we're clear, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish rounding this off. Now it does, in something this size, it does want to run away from you a little bit because the handle is smaller. I can't really anchor it to my body, so I'm using a kind of anchoring out here. You see what I turn into that. So I'm holding the tool firmly here, but the distance from my body to that means that I have no tool touching my actual body on the handle. I might actually suggest to them that they either offer this with a slightly longer handle, like a bowl gouge handle, or I might just bust it off and rehandle it myself and see. But the cutting steel itself is very good. It's holding an edge through that whole cherry process so far. We got a little burl there. That should be fun. I'm going to grab a Benjamin's Best just to give you a comparison. I have one here. Here's the Benjamin's Best. Okay, this is the 7/8 version of the FindBuyTool. So the FindBuy is wider, but you can see the difference in the length of these two tools is significant. I mean, if I put it down here that match the handles. So having this a little closer to your body helps a lot. This is just high-speed steel though. This is M2 Cairo, so there's a considerably difference in the steel and how long it's going to hold an edge. But having that little extra length would probably give it more control, especially something this big. You would anticipate that you're roughing, 4, 5, 6 inch diameter things, including logs. Like normally I'd put a branch on here and I'd use a roughing gouge to get there and then move to my skew when I want a final finish. Okay, we got that flat. Just want to see the difference on the two sides. So we're round here, even with the little burl, got some interesting bark. I'd probably turn past that because cherry's so pretty without it. Pretty good control. I'll move over here and finish off this side now. Same technique. I'm just gonna anchor my tool, find where the bevel is, slowly lift the handle so it starts to cut. I tried to take a more aggressive cut there. So you can take a nice light cut, or lifting the handle will really expose it, but it wants to run on you. It's really hard to anchor that down unless you're pulling it towards yourself. Still have it right there. Take some delicate passes. And I'll try to get the whole uniformity of the whole cylinder. So I'll anchor it, use my thumb on top, find my bevel and my cut, and then keeping that distance from the tool rest. So we have a gap right there, and the tool rest looks about right, so we'll start down here. Smaller on this end. So that should do it. We've taken a square thing and made it round with the FindBuyTool 1.1/8" roughing gouge. Worked well, left a pretty decent finish as far as I'm concerned for that stage. Now normally at this point I would grab my skew for my final finishing pass on this. And I usually like to raise my tool rest up quite a bit for the skew. A little something I learned from Tomislav and Steve the Woodturner and all those guys on YouTube who are so generous with their time. First we'll go ahead and peel this down so we get a flat end. It's a nice easy cut. Same thing, flatten this end off. Find your bevel, raise the tool handle, and cut. Be careful not to hit your 4-prong center. Now once I've done that, I will come up and just clean it up. Really trying not to take any more diameter, just cleaning off the grooves from the other cutting tool. Sounds good. There you go. All right. Now that's ready for a box project or whatever we want to do with that later. I'll put that aside. Actually, we could probably use the same thing. Oh, I got a little tear out right there. We can use the same blank here to try out the other tool, our parting tool. So again, this is 12 millimeters wide, but roughly a ½ inch, and 5 millimeters, 3/16 wide. It came with a little burr on it. It's probably an adequate burr for doing it for parting. And to do that, I will usually move back a bit and lower my tool rest just a little bit below midpoint on that. Now I'm going to be using this same tool on this end just to see if we can add a step and see what kind of control we get with it. Think of it like you're adding a mortise to put a box lid on something. So again, we'll find our bevel, slowly lift the handle. And that did a nice job. I, of course, now have to take off a little bit of, just clean off that edge there. So we don't have any fuzzies. It's going to be sharp. There you go. Did a nice job. It stayed level. I think that was perfectly adequate for a parting tool. Again, handle's a little bit short for me. Let me get you the standard parting tool, and this one has been since 1992. All right. So just comparing the two, you can see my Mifer from Spain, and this is just chrome vanadium steel. You can see, and this one's been used. I mean, I've sharpened that tip a lot. There's a solid 3.5, 4 inch difference in length. So yeah, squaring those up at the bottom, that's what you get. So the tool handles are small. If you have small hands, you're working on a midi lathe, you can stay close to it. I think that these tools would be a good buy for the money for you. But if you're on a bigger lathe, you want to be standing further back, you want to be able to anchor tighter to your body, you're going to want to buy either a bigger tool handle or pop this off and rehandle it. At the price, you're getting nice M2 Cairo, high-speed steel. I mean, the steel is very good. And you can cut off that handle and pop this into something bigger, more robust, and I think you'd be quite a bit happier with it. I think that's going to be my next thing. For me personally, big hands, big lathe, like to stand around, like to guide things with my body, not my hands. Rehandling these is going to make a big difference. I want to be fair here, because I've seen a lot of positive reviews of these tools from other turners that I respect. I can understand why. The steel feels actually really good. The cutting performance wasn't the issue I ran into at all. My concerns come down to proportions. On my lathe, with the type of work I normally do, the handles felt short, and the usable tool steel length also felt limited. For someone using a midi or a mini lathe, smaller projects, or someone just wanting lower cost entry points, these may fit perfectly. For my workflow, I found myself wanting more handle length and more steel available for future sharpening. Would I buy them again? Well, for a mini lathe setup or a beginner kit, possibly. But for my own normal work and the way I turn, I'd likely spend more for a longer handled tool with more usable steel.
Get out there and turn something.